So, right, hello. Here we go again. Now I'm sitting funnily a bit difficult in my car today because there's people in my cars next to me, so I kind of feel a bit awkward because I'm in my car again. But first off, before we do anything, apart from notice there's an ant wandering around my dash. Dead. Oh, no, not dead. Dead. Right. We need to discuss. We have a new subscriber. Hello, subscriber number 5 on YouTube. Congratulations. You've only listened once, subscribed, and I would imagine you'll never listen again. However, welcome. I think, maybe. Is it a welcome? Is it a commiserations? Oh, it's probably commiserations, isn't it? You've listened to it once, bit of car crash radio, and you now want a bit more. That's fine. That's fine by me. And we've got a lot to talk about. Well, we haven't got a lot to talk about, but we have something to talk about. Have we talked about gay bacon yet? I'm sure we've talked about gay bacon. So we won't do that. Well, maybe. I have to listen back to podcasts to find out if I'm repeating myself. Am I repeating myself? Am I repeating myself? These are the questions you've got to ask. Really, the question you've got to ask is, what the fuck was an ant on my dashboard? How did that get in? Yes, anyway. So it's, I need to give a shout out as well to my work colleague, who I don't know still listens to the podcast. But I feel like we need to drag him in at some point, to be in the podcast. So we can discuss some stuff. But yes, I don't know if it'll cheer him up, but we'll give a shout out. And then there is chocolate in my drawer if you need some chocolate. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, it's just been a bit of a rubbish week. It was alright. It was a Screwfix live show. Lots of Screwfixness. It's very British. So if you live abroad, Screwfix. You don't listen anyway. So no one's listening. But if you are listening and you're abroad and you stumbled across this, Screwfix is, I want to say, the Argos of for men. It's all building materials. So the idea is that you have a catalogue. You look it up in the catalogue. You go, I want that one, and then you pick that one. And then you go up to the counter with your number and go, have we got any of these? And it's like a big storeroom. And they go, oh yeah, we've got some of them. I'll sell you them. And then they go off and find it. And then bring back. A bit like Argos. Yeah, so Argos is the same principle. I don't think you have them in really other countries. So it seems to be a very British thing where we look it up on a bit of paper or nowadays on the website. And you go, oh, I'll have one of them. And then you go and pick it up in store, and the store has nothing in it. It's just a room with a counter at one end. So like a proper building engineering, like a proper factory stores where you walk into a room and it's just a bit grubby, and then at the other end there's a counter and you go up to it and go, I'll have a 2, 3, 4, 9, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, please. And they go, you ain't got one of them. You go, well, I want one of them. And they go, you ain't got one of them. Oh right, what else you got? Oh, I've got 2, 4, 9, 4, and it goes on a bit like that. So and then once you've ordered and paid for the item, you go and stand or sit in a row over with some other people, much like in a doctor's surgery. You're just sitting there looking miserable, trying not to make eye contact, and then your number. You get number 4. You just shout out, or well, any number. 623, and if that's your lucky number, you can get your item. Very much how it works. But the Screwfix show is massive, big trade show of lots of companies that sell their wares through the Screwfix, and I take my kids there because it's a haven of free samples. So that was my weekend story. Other than gardening. And we haven't done biscuit talk for a while either. So we need to do a bit of biscuit talks, because I feel like we need to talk about biscuits, because we haven't talked about bourbons for a while. I haven't eaten that many biscuits because Cadbury's has just started to do snowballs again, which are mini eggs but in white. But then that's another British. I imagine that's another British food again. Anyway, right? Shall we? 5 minutes in. 5 minutes. You've only 5 minutes. Right. Let's start with the book. Now, someone has complained. Well, not complained. They've mentioned the book must be really boring because there's long pauses. That is not the case. The long pauses are me pulling funny expressions, and maybe we need to get it on video, because the book is absolutely frustrating me, and I keep being in shock and feeling that it's like, what the fuck. They swear at the moment as well. Does anyone know that? Anyway, right, let's get on. Let's do this. So we're on chapter 3 already, page 30. This is Herne the Hunter 2, River of Blood. No, that's a corgi. Made by Corgi. I thought Corgi made remote control. Corgi plus toys. Anyway, right. Chapter 3. The man and the girl set out on their journey, unaware of what might happen to them between Phoenix and Memphis, uncertain even of what they might find when they arrived. Herne knew what he was looking for. The gambler. Oh, bollocks. We've read all this, haven't we? We've done that. And I can't pronounce that guy's name. And someone actually sent me a link. Thank you very much who sent me a link to actually pronounce it properly. Still can't. We looked at rocks and holes, didn't we? Yep. And then we knew that... Then we started going, this is a setup. There we go. Right, when they had passed further along the valley, and the land had become more spread out, less menacing, Herne climbed back into the saddle. Okay. I went through such a part of the valley, Becky felt the short hairs on her back. She confessed her fears to Herne, who could carefully look around and above them. See, I can't even remember where we were. He could see nothing, but he tied the horse's reins to the gig and sat alongside Becky, in an effort to make her less afraid. Oh, there we go. He pointed back the way we came. That place you weren't feeling so good, he grinned, tight-lipped. Yes. Reckon some sixth sense of yours must be taking you back into the past. What do you mean, Jed? Becky asked. Exactly 10 years ago, there was an Indian battle there. Lots of lives lost our side. Lots of braves went off in search of their happy hunting grounds. Salt River Canyon, they call it. Oh. How nice. Becky shivered and looked quickly about her. Do you think there's Indians around here, Jed? I think they're now called Native Americans. But hey-ho. The big man shook his greying hair. No, he's going grey now. When was he grey at the beginning? Have they just snuck in some grey hair? Diddly-dee. So rather than silence, I thought I'd do some diddly-dees. Since people are complaining about silence. Well, we're not complaining about it, they're just mentioning it. It has been noted, my friend. The big man shook his greying hair, doubtfully. Even though a few Apaches riding free, they're not likely to bother us out here. You say, famous last words. They should have made a move a while back, where conditions were better for an ambush. Besides, what have we got that they'd want? Oh, the horses, Becky ventured. You, Jed Herne thought, as he looked at her girls. Uh-oh! You, Jed Herne thought, as he looked at her girl's body and imagined the sight of it through the eyes of a wild Indian brave. But he said nothing. Oh, this is really dodgy. It really makes me cringe, this book. He wasn't right about the Apache. They'd only gone on another mile when Herne saw a group of them riding along not far to the north, heading in the same direction. At first his instinct was to say nothing to Becky, but there was a little sense in this. She would know soon enough. Guess I might have been wrong about those Indians. Although he had spoken softly, she saw the tense expression fill her face at once, the tightened grip on the reins of the gig. Becky looked in the direction in which he was pointing. Will they come for us? Hearn shrugged his shoulders. They might just carry on the way they were going, but then again, I doubt it. Injuns are naturally curious, just like just like kids. I reckon they might come and see who we are, what we're carrying. God, this is awful. Becky looked at him anxiously. Why don't we make a run for it, Jed? He shook his head. Do that and they'll come and get us straight away. And with that rig you're riding, you wouldn't stand a chance of getting clear. No, we've got to wait and let them make their play. That and pray that they ain't been drinking. An Indian with cheap whiskey inside him sure spells trouble. Oh, God, this is so racistly awful. Oh, my God, I hate it. I can't believe it. Just, yeah. Them damn Indians have had cheap whiskey, getting drunk. It's just so wrong. I just can't. Just like, he sexualised a 14-year-old. He's. Okay, cowboys and Indians, I get it. So they're called Indians, not Native Americans. Because this book wasn't written by then. But it's just them trouble. I'm looking at that young girl. Anyway, the line of Indians was now veering in their direction and coming gradually closer. No shit, really. Now that they had spread themselves out, Hearn could count them. 7, 8, 9, if the worst came to worse, they were not impossible odds. If only, thought Hearn, if only I didn't have the girl with me. When we were still closer still, Hearn recognised them as Jicarali Apache. Okay, so I'm really sorry if I pronounce this wrong. This is actually something I will apologise for pronouncing, because if it's technically right, then obviously I can't pronounce it, so I'm sorry about that. He wondered what had separated them from the rest of their tribe. Becky asked in a worried voice. What do we do? They're almost up to us. Hearn was alarmed at the panic in her voice, but he remembered that really she was still a child. Oh good, he's remembered now. A child who had recently gone through the most terrible experience. He wondered what rumours she had heard about the treatment of Apaches, sometimes handed out to those they took prisoner. Oh, we're going to have a scalping. You just keep a steady hand on that rein and keep staring out ahead of you. Whatever you do, don't look round at the Indians, and for God's sakes, don't let on that you're scared. The line of braves had slowed, so it was able to ride along behind them. They were riding small ponies mostly, and had the air of having already travelled a long way. They were certainly in no hurry to make a move now. Hearn looked only in front of him, but in his mind's eyes he had a clear picture of where each Apache was. He knew which one he would take first with his gun if it became necessary. Well, we haven't shot anyone for at least 3 pages, so we've got to shoot someone soon. We haven't had any blood. He tried to see if they were armed, but he had only seen 2 rifles and a revolver. There might have been more arms hidden. Well, how would they ride him a horse if they didn't have arms? You've got to ask yourself these questions, haven't you? Several of them were carrying spears, a single feather tied near the hip. Okay, really confused. Several of them were carrying spears. Okay, they're carrying spears. A single feather tied near the tip. Oh, near the tip of the... Oh. Okay, that won't make sense. They had dirty coloured headbands knotted around their heads, and all wore soiled thin trousers, because they've obviously got diarrhoea. Or maybe they're not soiled in that way. Obviously I've gone to the wrong thought on that matter. I'm just thinking they've soiled them because they've crapped themselves, but obviously not. Yeah. Maybe it's for water, or maybe it's for bad whiskey. Above these they had on a variety of shirts and army tunics. Hearn had noticed that one of them was wearing a strange garment round the top of his trousers. A girl's yellow and white gingham dress. He wondered who it belonged to, and what had happened to her. He wondered too if Becky had seen it. If she gave no sign. Outwardly, she remained calm as Herne had instructed, concentrating on the horse and the trail ahead. Yet inwardly, Herne did not know, could only guess, but he admired her bravery. Oh, good for you, mate. We continued like this for another mile, Herne and the girl in front, with a group of Apache in a line behind. From time to time, Herne looked out of the corner of his eyes to the hills on either side, searching for signs of other Indians lying in wait. Yet surely, if they wanted to take the two of them, there was little need to wait for help. Why, then, did they keep riding? At that moment they broke its formation. 4 of the Indians rode past, 2 on each side, whilst the remainder spread themselves into a curve behind. They're closing in. Well, there we go. Becky was only aware of what was happening, yet she struggled with herself to control her emotions. Ah, typical woman! Just can't control her emotions! If they decided to attack, she could not see that even Jed would be able to fight them all off, which would leave her alone, and she did not think they would kill her straight away. No, they would make her cook. Deep inside her mind, some dim, dark ideas of what may might happen to her. Then the hands rose and fell instantly. Suddenly there was a loud hiccup which made Becky grab tightly to the reins, and which forced Herne's head round to the right. In that otherwise silent landscape, it was an unexpected noise. Until Herne saw the reason for it, and we all know why. One of the Apaches was holding a whiskey bottle to his lips as he rode. The brave used his knees to move his pony up towards Becky's rig, then reached one hand down until it grasped the back of the seat. Again the bottle was tilted to his lips, and the liquid missed his mouth and poured down his cheeks and chin onto the torn blue army jacket that he was wearing. Gunfight. Herne left. Now this is really boring. Shall we scan read? Herne let his right hand slur to the top of his thigh. So he's about to get his gun. Didn't know how long Becky could cope. Then Apache was wearing the girl's dress, crossed from left to right in front of the rig. He pulled in his pony in the front of the brave with the whiskey bottle and held out his hand. The other shrugged it away and returned the bottle to his mouth. Both Indians stared down at the precious firewater dripping on the greedy earth. Oh, he dropped the bottle. The Indian was, with the dress, reached down from the side of his mount and scooped it up almost. So they were annoyed. They kept arguing. The other Apaches watched intensely, but nothing was said. Herne was annoyed that they were getting rid of throwing away good whiskey. As he watched him, the Apaches wheeled his pony round and began to trot off towards the hills to the south, the folds of the gungham dress jutting out strangely on either sides of the cotton trousers. So one of them's run off. Right. So they've all just run off. So they've just come, annoyed everyone, too drunk to do anything, and then just rode off. That was a bit boring, really. Then they moved on, that's it, really. So we skipped a good page and a half. North of the next 100 miles of the journey did they see another Indian that close. From time to time, Herne caught sight of a single brave outlined on the horizon. Once or twice he loses his sharps, his single-shot rifle from its place beneath his knee. But he had no call to use it. Their journey took them north through New Mexico. Oh, boring. He had to find it more direct because he was taking her. Didn't want going to Cattletown. Oh my God. It's literally We've just had a campfire. We could just skip most of it. Her and Becky headed straight on across the open plain. On the side we could see flat grasslands. Boring riding. This is literally like Lord of the Rings. Second, which is it, the second or third, where we just spend the whole time just walking across some grassland for a whole movie? Just like walking across grassland for a whole bloody movie. How does that work out? That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I'm bored now. This book is boring. Can we get another book? No. We'll have to... Oh, you made it to a bar. Let's go. Yeah, fuck it. Do you know what? I can't be arsed. Literally can't be arsed today. Well, how long was this podcast? Oh, 21 minutes. Let's do this. I'm going home. Well, I'm not going home. I'm going in. I'm bored with this book. I need another book. I've still got Mills and Boons in the back. Which is we just need some dodgy porn, don't we, to read. Anyway, right. I will vanish again. I feel like I've discussed rubbish in my head. And I need to go. So yeah, have a nice day now.